But first of all, I want to say hello to everyone and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ousman. I'm the founder of BT Global Access. So today's event is part of our what we call the informational webinar series for international students and educational stakeholders. So for those of you who are not familiar with BT Global Access, our work centered around promoting global education and international student mobility. So we work with universities and colleges to recruit international students. So this event actually is what we call BT Global Access Virtual Cafe. So what that means is we bring together colleges, professionals in international education and immigration experts to share information with our prospective students. And most importantly, to give you unique opportunities to ask important questions regarding international education and immigration landscape in Canada. So if you guys know, we have a huge ambition at BT Global Access. We call Vision 2033. So what that means is we wanted to educate 1 million people. So hopefully all of you in this meeting today could be one of those students. So I'm so excited today because we will be speaking with Brett MacLean. He's the senior international recruiter at Breton University in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and also Bhanu. He's the vice president international business development and strategic relationship at Connoisseur College, as well as our very amazing Nava Elmi. She's a Canadian immigration lawyer. She's the founder of Nava Elmi Immigration Law Firm here based in Toronto. So they will be discussing, Nava will be discussing immigration issues, and Brad and Banu will be discussing about their programs, admissions, and scholarship opportunities in their respective schools. So without wasting a lot of time, each of them will be given like 15 minutes to present, give a presentation, and then from there, then we'll be having question and answer sessions as well. So without wasting time, so I just wanted to maybe give a little bit rundown of some of our activities that we do or our requirement at BT Global Access. So the first thing that we do, or the first thing I had in mind when we look at application is to see how do we maximize your chances of getting the visa in Canada. So the first thing we do is what we call online application and assessment form. So this is like a 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Oh. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's like we give 15 minutes, 10 minutes presentation to fill out the form. So we are asking basic questions.
My apologies to cut you. Can you try to see if you can put the camera? It seems that sometimes we can see something.
Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see your keyboard now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's fine. Either you can keep your screen like black as it is right now, or try to put it properly.
That's weird on my keyboard.
That's okay, Ousman. You can continue. You were talking about your admission process, how you first welcome students.
So yeah, so the first thing we do, because we want to make sure the student have maximize their chances of getting the visa and getting the background and admission. So we start with what we call admission form. So we send that out for free for the students to fill out. We ask about what program they want to do, their academic background, whether they meet the requirements that we are asking for, and finances and stuff like that. And then after that, then we able to find them a suitable program. because we want to make sure the program that we are choosing for them makes sense. For example, you don't want to have a student who is a nurse background and wants to be an engineer in Canada. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So we want to make sure the program that we are choosing and the college that we are choosing for you is ideal, is affordable for you, but also makes sense academic-wise. So our requirements at basics level is 5 credits. 5 credits, including English language. If you want to go for sciences, we ask for 5 credits, including English, math, and 2 other science subjects. Just to remind you, that's just the basic levels. And then also we make sure that the schools that we are choosing is a DLI. So DLI is designated line institution. So these are basically institutions or schools that are approved by our provincial governments here in Canada to host international students. And then sorry about that. And then we want to make sure that the program that we are choosing for you is eligible for a postgraduate work permit, which Nava will talk about. It's important for us. And then we also took note of the how you get admitted. Like we look at the application deadlines, the potential language requirements, because some of the schools require language requirements, and also other programs. So we look at that. So irrespective of whether the schools or university ask for a 1 semester tuition fees, we required our students to pay 1 semester tuition fees, because we know refusal rate for students coming from Africa is really high. We want to make sure we do everything in our power to make sure we get you acceptance, but also your visa chances of coming here. And then, as I said, having a letter of acceptance from a DLI institution is crucial. Without that, your study permit might not be approved. So basically, these are some of the things and many other things that we look at before we accept students. So we do a lot of pre-assessment before we even accept students. So far, that's why all the application that Nava presented, Nava is our lawyer, we are like 100% approval rate in terms of visa process. So we do a lot of work. I told Bhanu and Brett in Vancouver, when I met them, say I'm very more concerned about the visa process than the school, even though I know they're very important, but we do a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that every student that we have is successful. So basically that's what I have so far from my end. Without wasting time, I would like to invite Brett to give his presentation. Brett, you are welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Ousman, and thanks to all of you that are joining us today. My name is Brett MacLean, and I'm with Cape Breton University in Nova Scotia in Eastern Canada. What I'd like to do perhaps this afternoon is take 10, maximum 15 minutes to talk to you about Cape Breton University and, of course, the province of Nova Scotia. I do have a PowerPoint presentation here, but it's more for the visuals. I'm very aware no one wants to watch a presentation on a PowerPoint for more than 10, 15 minutes. But I am keen to show you a few slides. So let me bring that up and we can start with that. So here we go. Can you see that okay?
Nava? Yes,
Perfect. Okay. So Cape Breton University. I guess the best place to start off with is our location. Canada's quite a large country, and many of you might not be familiar with the geography, but we're located on the far, far east coast of Canada, right on the Atlantic Ocean. To put that in perspective, we're about a 2-hour direct flight to New York City in the United States. I think most people have a rough idea of where New York is. But we're also about a 2-hour flight from Toronto in Southern Ontario, or about an 1.5-hour flight from Montreal in Quebec. To put that in perspective, we're also a direct flight from Nova Scotia to London Heathrow. That's only about 6 hours. We're actually closer to the United Kingdom than we are to Vancouver on the far west coast of Canada. But in terms of the place that you would be studying, we are a smaller province. We're only about 1 million people in Nova Scotia. But we do get more than 5 million tourists a year that are coming for our high-end luxury golf resorts, ski resorts, and beach resorts. There are 2 main cities in Nova Scotia. the capital being Halifax, which is about 500,000 people, and Sydney, Nova Scotia, which is located in Cape Breton, that has about 150,000 people. These photographs here are a little bit deceptive because I think it makes us look like we're in the absolute middle of nowhere. This picture on the bottom left is actually part of a golf resort that's in the north part of the island. But we do have an airport you can fly directly into from Toronto, from Montreal. And if you are looking for a smaller place to live, this is what we offer. I know Bonu is going to talk to you about the options in Southern Ontario and probably some larger places, but we do get a lot of international students with us because of our location. In terms of the university, we are a publicly funded government university. We're actually about 7,500 international students now, or sorry, 7,500 students in total, with more than 2,500 students coming from more than 72 different countries. I am happy to announce that we are going to be the next medical school in Canada. We've recently received $150 million from the federal government of Canada to build a medical facility, increase our health science laboratories, and expand housing on campus. A lot of students, I think, choose to study in Nova Scotia for a number of factors. The first one is probably going to be the tuition cost. We are a publicly funded government university, but we're charging only 19,000 Canadian dollars per year. That is not a small amount of money, but certainly relative to other institutions in Canada, and certainly compared to the United Kingdom and Australia, that is a very competitive price. And I don't want you to think of low tuition as low quality. We are a government university here in Canada. We're charging a lower tuition for programs in engineering, business, and the health sciences because our provincial government is trying to attract more international students. The other thing I think that students choose Nova Scotia for is the lower cost of living. Certainly within Canada, the cost of living is going up everywhere. There is inflation. But generally speaking, Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia is a more affordable place to live in terms of housing and your cost of living. I know for some students, finances is not going to be an option. But for those of you that are looking for a public education without spending too much money relative to other places you could look at, this is something I think that's important. And I will briefly talk about our programs, and particularly postgraduate programs, where students might be coming with a family. I think that is an attractive proposition. And the third thing that really attracts students, I think, to Nova Scotia, and probably Nava is going to talk about this a bit more than I am, but it's the immigration options. If you choose to study in Atlantic Canada, there's a very attractive immigration program called the Atlantic Immigration Program, whereby if you graduate from a Nova Scotia government university, like Cape Breton University, you can apply for your permanent residence 6 months after you graduate. So if immigration is at the top priority for you, this is something I think you should definitely consider in terms of location in Canada. And one of the things I usually do talk to students and parents about is that you can't have everything. You can't live in a large city like Vancouver with a low cost of living, a low tuition, with great permanent residence options. You usually have to choose a couple of things. And for some students, I think probably living near family might be a top priority. And if you have family that's living in Vancouver and that's important to you, of course, BT Global can help you find, I'm sure, an institution in Southern British Columbia. There's other students where, finances are not going to be options. And, Vancouver is also a great place if you don't have a budget because it's a very expensive place to live. But I think if immigration is a top priority for you in getting permanent residence, or certainly if you are on a budget and you're looking to send perhaps a little bit less than what it might cost in some larger urban centers in Canada, I think Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia should be at the top of your list. But in terms of the study options, we have quite a few programs on offer, but I'll be here until next Tuesday if I'm trying to speak about them. So in a nutshell, we have undergraduate and postgraduate programs available, as well as a Master's of Business Administration. The focus, I think, today is probably going to be on some select programs that are starting off in our business school. We have a large business school For students coming directly from high school that have written the West African Exam Council, we generally need an overall score of around a B on the WAEC exam. And our business school has programs in accounting, finance, marketing, HR management, hospitality and tourism management, the general programs you would see in business for students coming directly from high school. Obviously, the Gambia has quite a unique tourism attraction. Obviously, you get a lot of tourists coming from the United Kingdom, particularly for bird watching. If you have an industry or you have a desire to study hospitality and tourism marketing, we also have a program that's 3 years instead of 4 that actually pays you about $20,000 over the 2 required work terms. But generally, these are programs that are for students coming directly from high school and would cost 20,000 Canadian dollars per year. For those of you that are interested in postgrad programs, we have 2-year postgrad programs that are very attractive because the total cost for the full 2 years is 30,000 Canadian dollars. Again, that's not a small amount of money, but I think a very competitive price considering that it is a postgrad program. This is programs in supply chain management, given our location on the Atlantic Ocean, business management, business analytics, and healthcare management. These programs are done over 4 semesters, the first 3 in class, and the final semester as a research project or a work term. And I think what's great about these programs is that they're designed with the labor market in mind. These programs are designed because there's a huge demand, particularly in Nova Scotia or other parts of Canada, from graduates in these disciplines. So what you'll see there is, there's no postgrad program in Victorian poetry or some maybe programs that don't necessarily lead to job outcomes. So if you are interested in studying at the postgrad level, we do require students to have at least a bachelor's degree with an equivalent 70% Canadian in their overall grades. Our largest department is the School of Science and Technology. We have a massive engineering department at Cape Breton University, and we have 2 types of engineering. We have an applied engineering program for students that are looking for maybe a 2-year diploma, a 3-year degree, or a 4-year advanced degree coming from high school. These programs are designed for students that, might want to get an applied program, but don't necessarily want to go a full 4 years. For those of you, we have the 2-year diploma or the 3-year degree. And these have 4 different disciplines. In particular is our petroleum or our oil and gas program. Cape Breton University is actually one of only 5 institutions in Canada that offers an engineering technology program, and the only one that has the degree. If you're interested in working in the oil and gas sector in Canada, this is something that we have many years of experience training students to do. We're actually the global trainer of ExxonMobil, the largest oil and gas company in the world. We're partnerships with Royal Dutch Shell in the Netherlands, as well as Duke Oil and Anadarko. But if you're not interested in oil and gas, we also have an electronics and controls program, environmental studies, as well as a chemical engineering technology program. For those of you looking for the more traditional or the professional engineering qualification, we have the Bachelor of Engineering program. That's the 4-year. This is the globally accredited program that's recognized through the Washington Accord. And because we are a public university, we are a full member of the Professional Engineering Association of Canada. While this might not be obvious to students at the moment, these are very, very important accreditations. And the way this program works is that you do the first 2 years with us, and then you would transfer to Dalhousie University, the largest university in Eastern Canada, based in Halifax for year 3 and 4. One thing that we do not offer is a computer science program, a software engineering program, or anything IT related, unfortunately. But if you are interested in your more traditional programs like mechanical engineering, civil, electrical, environmental, or industrial engineering, we do have these at a very, very competitive price at approximately $20,000 a year. For students looking to do, a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, chemistry, maths, or psychology, we have these as a 3- and 4-year degree. And a lot of students that I think take these programs, they use them as their qualifier for going into a pharmacy program, veterinary sciences, perhaps physiotherapy, something like this. Another large school in our department is the School of Arts and Social Sciences. Not too popular with our international students, other than European exchange students, but we have 3- and 4-year degrees in international relations, psychology, journalism, communications, political science. We have a very strong sports sciences department. We offer a sports and physical activity and leadership program. But we do get quite a few students coming from West Africa. But generally, these, again, programs would be $20,000 a year. And the last school is our ever-expanding School of Education and Health. And this is a program, I think, particularly since the pandemic, that's become very popular. For students coming directly from high school, you would need, again, roughly a B average on your West African Exam Council. And this is a Bachelor of Health Sciences in Public Health. There's only 6 universities in Canada that offer this. We are one of them. And this is a program that's very much focused on epidemiology and preventing the spread of disease through masking up, through better water quality and better food quality. I think over the past few years, we've heard about the role of wearing a mask and good hygiene in public to prevent the spread of COVID. This has been a widely popular program now, and we've actually had to cap this at about 100 international students a year. So if you are interested in working as a health and safety inspector, policymaker, an epidemiologist, we've had students go work for NGOs and even the World Health Organization after this. This is a program for you. In a nutshell, Nava, that is very much the programs that we offer. Like I said, if you're interested in studying engineering, business-related programs, health science programs, or the arts and social sciences, this is what we offer. As a university, all of our programs are at least 2 years. We do not offer 1-year certificates. And certainly we're not offering programs that some of you might be interested in, say, AI or cybersecurity. I think these are some programs that Bonu certainly will be able to talk about a bit more in detail. Quick thing on just applying. We have 3 applications intakes per year: September, January, and May. Generally, once we have all of your documents, we take about 2 to 3 weeks to process an application. And certainly because you are coming from the Gambia, you are considered an English-speaking country. If you've studied in the medium of English, we do not require an IELTS or a language score. Starting for January 2024, we are going to require a 2,500 Canadian dollar deposit to confirm your seat. But if for some reason you don't get the visa in time for your desired intake, we will automatically defer you to the next available intake and hold your seat. So we do have some flexibility in that. Of course, Ousman and BT Global, they are our partner in the Gambia. If you are interested to make an application for Cape Breton University, I strongly recommend you contact Ousman. For those of you that attended today's seminar, we will be waiving the application fee. It's normally $80, so all it will cost you is your time. But for myself, I think I am going to kind of cut the PowerPoint short here and let Bhanu give you a little bit of update what he wants to talk about at Conestoga College. Is that PowerPoint there? That's off the screen? Grant.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Brett. Just so everyone knows, we have people connecting from all over the world, including from the Gambia. We have people from Canada, from the US, from Italy, from Sierra Leone, from Bahrain, from Iran, from DRC, from Indonesia, from Spain, from India, from Qatar, and from Saudi Arabia. Just so everybody knows who is attending today. Brett, thank you very much for this overview. Bhanu, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And Brett, as always, man, great job. Great job. I wanted to say good afternoon, good evening. Looking at Gambia, but now it's huge. So I would start by saying a big hello to everyone, and I hope everyone is doing great. First of all, thank you very much for joining us today. I know it's a weekend and you might have plans with family and friends, but we really appreciate your time. As Brett did, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep my talk very, very short so that there's more room for question and answers towards the end. Most of the information which about the school is on our respective websites as well. So more time we have for interaction, I think better it is. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank PT Global and Nava Immigration for giving us this opportunity and platform to connect with people, not just from Gambia and Africa, but I'm amazed when you were mentioning the country from pretty much all over the world. So thank you very much. As mentioned earlier, my name is Bhanu. I work as the Vice President at Conestoga College. I've been with the college for 14 years, and I've been in the industry for 23 years. I worked for another college for 9 years and 14 with Conestoga. The reason I'm mentioning that is international education pertaining to Canada. I have seen a huge shift and a huge growth, and I feel very proud of being a little part in that. And today Canada, I think I've traveled to 73 countries, and I think today Canada has become a preferred destination in almost every part of the world. And Conestoga College, we sit in the heart of one of Canada's busiest and most innovative areas called Waterloo region. It's also the technology capital of Canada. Waterloo region is the second largest Silicon Valley of the world. So California is the largest and we are the second largest. Conestoga was established in 1967, and today we are a leader in Polytechnic education and one of the fastest growing public colleges in Canada. We have overall part-time and full-time 45,000 students, and among them over 22,000 students are international students coming from 89 countries. Around 89 countries, yeah. I was just trying to think of the last count we got Friday, but I think it's still at around 89 countries. We have ranked consistently among the very best of Ontario colleges in graduate employment rate, student satisfaction, graduate satisfaction, and employer satisfaction. And then overall employment rate at the college is 89%. International student employment rate is around 94%. And the employment rate of Waterloo region, even with that, with COVID, sits at 95%. I'm very proud that Conestoga has built a platform where we are able to connect, explore, help, grow, and be part of reasons for tremendous success our students, staff, and community has achieved and will be achieving. And I want to congratulate you guys who will be joining us to be part of that amazing success. At Conestoga, we offer over 350 programs, and out of that, 240 programs are open for international students, ranging from 1-year certificate, 2-year diplomas, 3-year advanced diplomas, 4-year bachelor's degree, and 1 to 2-year postgraduate program. We also offer one of the highest number of bachelor's degrees in the country among the colleges, and we were also Ontario's first college-based accredited engineering degree. So prior to Conestoga College, only universities could offer a BE. We were the first one to offer a Bachelor of Engineering at a college. And today in the country, we offer the highest number of BEs in any public college. Besides IT and engineering, our expertise also lies in hospitality, very big in nursing and health sciences, food processing, healthcare, media, and of course, business studies. Over 75 of our programs, which are offered to international, have got a co-op component. And some of you who are not aware of what co-op is, co-op programs help jumpstart your career by combining valuable paid work experience along with the academic program you'll be studying at Conestoga College. As mentioned, we are located in Waterloo region. One thing about Waterloo region, and I relate this when I'm talking about Waterloo and Conestoga being together. I know a lot of people in my life, and I'm pretty sure either you or your parents might know, people who have not gone to any formal education after their high school. And if you look at them today, they are very successful there, like business people, or they're working in a private firm at a director or a higher level. And that makes me wonder that if success could be achieved like that, then why would somebody come and study at a school like Conestoga or Cape Breton? There are many reasons for these people to be doing and being successful as they are, but some of the reasons which I have boiled down, and the reason I boiled them down was 25 years ago, I came to Canada as an international student, and the things which I did are similar to these. These people surround themselves with the right kind of people, they network with the right kind of people, and they create an ecosystem around themselves that lead them to that kind of success. Fortunately, Conestoga College is located in a region where we provide those opportunities ready-made to our students. Conestoga's industry relationships and involvement with alumni and prospective employers is immaculate. Waterloo region, we are home to over 1,600 technology companies, with 8 of Canada's largest technology companies based here in Waterloo. Google Canada, for example, is based in Kitchener, their headquarters, and it is like 7 minutes from our Waterloo campus, which is also our School of Information Technology. Waterloo region has top 4 largest urban population in Ontario, with an average household income of around $85,000 as compared to Canadian average of $74,000 per year. As mentioned before, 95% is our employment rate in the region, with 20% less cost of living than any major city in Ontario. One thing which I feel very proud, because I'm one of them, over 30% people living in Waterloo region were not born in Canada. So everything which I've shared with you right now, technology capital and all that kind of things, and 30% of people were not born in Canada, what does this tell you? It tells you that Waterloo region is attracting the brains from around the world. I'm one of them, because I was not born in Canada. I'm one of them, and you will be one of them as well. In next 2 years, Waterloo region needs 22,000 technology professionals. And by the year 2030, we need over 50,000 technology professionals. I'm not making this figure up. Check it out on Google. Chamber of Commerce of Waterloo and Kitchener, they have projected this, and it is right there on their website, or some kind of data they have there. When I talk like this, a lot of people say, oh, okay, so you're big in technology, that's what you are. And I say, hold on. When tourism grows, tourism is a temporary destination. Niagara Falls, for example. I go in the morning, I'll come back in the evening, or maximum I'll go and spend a weekend there. So what grows there is tourism and hospitality. They do an amazing job there. But when technology grows, technology is a permanent destination. Google has 7,000 people working here. So when those 7,000 people come here, they don't come for a day or a weekend, they come here to stay. And when these people stay, then what happens? You need hospitality, you need tourism, you need recreation, you need health, you need banking, you need insurance. So everything grows. So if I say by 2030, we need 50,000 people in technology, I'm also saying that I need 200,000 people in the rest of the other fields. So any program you're choosing to study in Waterloo region at Conestoga College, you know there's a job for you. As I mentioned, I've been to 73 countries, and people ask me, which one is your favorite country? Very hard to pick, because every country offers something beautiful, and then every country becomes your favorite. But then I tell them that I say, you know, it's very hard to pick one country as my favorite country, but I'll tell you, there's one question which is common among every country. And they were like, what? I said, when students come to study at Conestoga, everyone, whether they want to stay here, or as Brett mentioned, they might want to move to Vancouver. If they have relatives there, they might want to go to Nova Scotia, wherever. The whole country is open, and entire Canada is superbly welcoming. They all ask me one question: are there jobs available in my field of study at Conestoga? So in Waterloo region, what I'm studying at Conestoga, are there jobs available? So that led me, a few years ago, to find out what is the industry sector of Waterloo region. At least I should know that, right? And I was pleasantly surprised. And I'll mention a few of them here. And if you are thinking of working in that field, or if you are already in that field, I'm pretty sure that this will encourage you a little bit more to come to Waterloo region. So we have advanced manufacturing, aerospace, business and financial services, food processing, water technologies, automotive, biotechnology, information technology, of course, logistics and transportation, health and life sciences, and also Waterloo region is one of Canada's largest startup ecosystems. So all the entrepreneurs listening to us right now, when you come here, you will be hanging out with a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and that will give you that ecosystem, that networking opportunity, what we were talking earlier, to be extremely successful when you are studying at Conestoga. In this industry sector, there are tons and tons of companies. In Waterloo region alone, more than 1,600 companies. There is also one more thing called Waterloo-Toronto Corridor. There are around 17,000 companies in that corridor. They employ over 350 people. This industry sector, they come to Conestoga to hire our student, and that's why our employment rate is pretty high. Conestoga College, we focus on three major areas: student satisfaction, student leadership, and student success. And this philosophy has helped us make ourselves a very, very strong brand, both domestically and internationally. I remember when I joined Conestoga in 2009, we had 69 international students. And today, as I mentioned before, I'm sitting at around 24,000. So yesterday was the 10th day. My count yesterday was 23,873 students coming from 89 countries. That's pretty huge. And this growth happened during pandemic. And I say that friends like BT Global have played a good role in our growth, but at the same time, word of mouth, because 2.5 years, no travels, no education fairs, nothing was happening, no physical contacts, little bit of this Zoom, but a lot of it was student services, what we were doing at Conestoga. Word of mouth was going out, and students were bringing their friends, relative, neighbor, etc., to Conestoga College, and we've seen this growth. I'm very, very proud of it. Few things which, when I talk like this, one of the Nigerian parents a few years ago asked me that you're so passionate about Conestoga. If Conestoga is so great, right? And you said the community is so great and everything is there for my child, what does Conestoga do to take advantage of this? I said, you know what? I mean, there are 50,000 things which we do to stay connected with the industry. We have an entrepreneurship center at the college where we involve ourselves with the industry. I said, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you one thing which is directly related to your child's future when they choose to study at Conestoga. And he said, what is that? I said, it is Conestoga's forward-looking, active learning and collaborative approach. More than 35% of our new program development committee or existing program maintenance team comprises of leaders from the industry. They share with us what's in the future, and we either develop a new program or modify our existing programs to match the future needs of the industry. And you know what that does? And he asked me what? I said, that makes your child job ready. And he was like, wow. I said, exactly. I said, that's why we have 94% international student employment rate, right? Because all our programs are constantly being, like every, I think, 2 months, once in 2 months, this committee sits together and they discuss like what's happening, R&D. Sometimes there's nothing. And sometimes they will drop something and our faculty is boom, on top of it, making sure that you guys are job ready. We offer one of the highest number of postgraduate programs in the country. I'm sitting at 94 postgraduate right now. There are 20 more programs with the government right now. Anytime we might hear approvals coming in. So by the end of 2023, I should have around 110 postgraduate programs in almost every field, whatever Kitchener-Waterloo serves as industry. So I would not have petroleum, for example, what Brett has, because I don't have a petroleum industry here. So any industry which is here, I'm a community college, I'm here to serve the community. Any industry which exists in and around Kitchener-Waterloo, we have a program for you to have a career in. I'm going to quickly mention, I'm just being conscious of the time, I'm just going to quickly mention the schools we have under the big Conestoga umbrella. We have School of Applied Computer Science, School of Business Studies, School of Engineering and Technology, School of Health Sciences, School of Hospitality, School of Liberal Studies, School of Media and Design, and School of Trades. I'm very proud to say that in September, we opened our new trades campus. This is the largest trade campus in any public teaching institute in Canada. 375,000 square feet of this campus, right? So there are tons of jobs for trades here, and I'm pretty sure that Nava Immigration is going to talk about it, in coming few years, there will be a shortage of tradespeople, and a lot of trade programs are being introduced into the knock list now for applying for your immigration. If, and as Brett said beautifully, if that's one of your goals to immigrate to Canada, there are opportunities through this path as well. I would love to talk about our programs more in depth, but again, respecting your time and BT Global's time, I'm going to try to not go in detail with the programs, but look for an opportunity in future to talk to you about it. People who are coming from English-speaking countries, most of Africa is, except some of the Francophones, we don't need anything. But now that I know that a lot of you are from countries like Saudi Arabia, like Vietnam, and other areas, India, for example, where English is not considered as the first language, I need 6 in IELTS, nothing less than 5.5 for our diploma programs, 6.5, nothing less than 6 for our postgraduate program and our degree programs. For our trades program, which are certificates and diploma, again, 6 in IELTS, nothing less than 5.5. We also accept TOEFL, PTE, and those requirements are mentioned on our website, very similar in comparison to what IELTS scores are. For our diplomas and advanced diploma, the tuition fees is $14,500 per year. Postgraduate programs are $15,500, and our degree programs are $15,750 Canadian dollars per year. You guys must be aware that Canadian government has allowed public-private partnerships where a public college can offer some of their programs in partnership with a private school. Toronto and surrounding areas being very, very popular. Conestoga does not have any such partnerships, and we do not believe in this. We do not intend to do any such deliveries. We believe in ourselves and we deliver ourselves. Today, we have 9 of our own campuses in and around Waterloo region. The farthest we go is Milton, which is exactly in the middle of Toronto and Waterloo. And Toronto is an hour drive from where we are. So our campuses are, 2 of them are in Kitchener, 1 is in Cambridge, 1 is in Waterloo, Brantford, Guelph, and we have a campus in Milton as well. So, and then there are lots and lots of, and I'm pretty sure with Cape Breton also, we have lots and lots of student services for you, housing help, immigration help, etc., which is, I think, pretty common in most public institutions in Canada, universities and colleges. So with that, I would end it. Again, I think I'm just around 15 mark. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to me. I hope I earned the privilege of the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Bhanu. You will be amazed if you see Bhanu in real life. He's more passionate than this. And the same thing goes to Brett. So without wasting much time, you will have a lot of time to ask you questions, but you can put them on the chat box, and then we'll read out some of them. But before that, I will let Nava to give her presentation. Nava, go ahead.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. So we read all your questions, and many of you have specific questions about specific programs. So I invite you, the first step in the process is to get an admission. And I invite you to contact Ousman, who is from BT Global Access. Their work is all about understanding who you are, what is your background, what you want to study, and let you know, based on all of these, which schools and which programs may be best for you and what are the conditions. So I have put Ousman's email address into the Q&A section. I invite you to reach out to him directly. I'm an immigration lawyer, and I have been practicing for 10 years now. We are working with students from all over the world, and we help them settle everywhere in Canada. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit the big picture of what you can expect when you want to even start the process. So first of all, you need an admission. You cannot, I will not even start speaking with you unless you have an admission first. After that, we submit the application. You will have a biometric. Biometrics are your fingerprints. So you will need to go into your own country and give your fingerprints. Then you're going to have a passport request, and then you can come to Canada. That's the whole picture. Now I'm going to go into more detail. First of all, when should you start the process? You should start the process at least 5 months before coming to Canada. It takes time for you to get your admission, and it takes time for us to put your application together, and it takes time for immigration to process your application. So on average, this is not something that you can do overnight. Schools have deadline for you to apply, and we have to be mindful of how long it takes immigration to process your application. It usually currently takes about 2 months to 2.5 months to 3 months to get an application, to have an answer on a study permit application. Now, a lot of students are asking us, what type of programs should we choose? And our answer is, the more specific your program will be, the more niche it will be, the higher the chances of success of your study permit. So if you are coming to Canada to only study general program that will teach you about languages and economics and a little bit of business and a little bit of mathematics and a little bit of science, it's not going to be a strong application. Because on our end, on the legal side, we need to argue and demonstrate why you are coming from your country to a far away continent to study in this university or this college in this specific program. So the more specific your program will be, the higher the chances of success. So you need to look at what the school is, but you also mostly need to look at the programs and the courses that this program will provide you. In addition to the program, it has to be a program that is somehow linked to your background. So what you have done, what you have studied, what you have worked in your home country, and what your long-term goals are. So let's say you have studied engineering back home, or you have work experience in IT, and then suddenly you have an admission letter in food, in baking. These are very two wide industries that have nothing to do with each other. So on our end, on the legal side, we need to demonstrate who you are, what you have done from back home, and why you will come to Canada to study this program that will bring you a benefit when you will go back to your country. At least at this stage, this is what we need to argue, that you are coming here temporary to study a specific program for a specific amount of time, and then your end goal is to use that newly acquired knowledge to go back and to leverage that experience back home. This is about the schools and the admission. Once you have the admission letter, this is where our job as lawyers should start. We have a meeting with you to understand as well who you are. And after that, we send you a list of documents. So the list of documents are very detailed and it's pretty long usually. So it includes everything from your ID documents. It includes all your previous education documents. It includes your proof of previous and current work experiences. And a very important part is about financials. Immigration wants to see that you have enough money to justify these your wish to come and study in Canada. So on average, if we want to see approximately 3 times your cost of studies in Canada. So we look at the cost of the tuition fees plus the cost of living. We multiply that by 3, and it gives us approximately what usually immigration wants to see on your account or on your sponsor's account. So for those of you who are young or do not have enough financial capacity, you have to have a sponsor. And your sponsor can be parents, can be cousins, can be uncles, but we usually want to see that they are somehow related to you. So the documents from your sponsor are crucial, and we do not submit a study permit application with that proof of who your sponsor is and what their sources of income are. So if they are employed, we want to see proof of the employment. If they are, if they have their own businesses, we want to see proof of their businesses. So business registration, tax documents, shareholder agreements, etc., depending of course, every single country has different type of documents when it comes to business and employment as well. In addition to all of the documents, we draft what we call a study plan. A study plan is a letter that we draft under your name that explains who you are, what you have done in your life until now, and why you want to study this specific program in this specific school. It is a mandatory document that we ask you to go and sign in front of a notary in your country. So it means that that letter has more legal power than if it wasn't signed in front of a notary. In addition to the study plan, we also draft a letter of support from your financial sponsor that will emphasize who they are, what is the relationship with you, why they want to sponsor you financially, and what their financial resources are. These are crucial documents as well that increase the chance of success of your study permit. Then you will come to, we will submit the application, you will come to Canada, you will hopefully graduate in Canada, and once you graduate, you have the right to, or at least you are eligible to apply for what we call a postgraduate work permit. So I saw in the chat that some of you have asked how we can get a work permit. So first of all, during your studies, you are a full-time student, but you can work part-time as well, usually not more than 20 hours per week. At least this is what we advise you to. You remain a full-time student and you can work part-time during your studies. You can work full-time while you are on school breaks. Let's say during Christmas, or let's say during summer. If you are not studying, you can work full-time. However, once you are done with your studies, once you are graduating, you are eligible to ask to apply for a postgraduate work permit. So if you study 1 year, you will have a 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you study 2 years or more, you will be eligible for 3 years work permit. So this is extremely valuable. And the reason is because this work permit, it will allow you to work for whoever you want, wherever you want in Canada. And that work experience that you will acquire will be very advantageous for you personally, but also if you wish to obtain permanent residency later on. So one way to immigrate to Canada is certainly to immigrate as a student. As Brett and Bhanu have mentioned, Canada is looking to welcome students. and a lot of people are immigrating by first becoming a student, acquiring a Canadian education that will be valuable on the Canadian job market, that will help you access more easily at least, access jobs in Canada. And that work experience will be valued if you wish to stay permanently in Canada and become permanent resident. So Ousman, I'm pretty much done with regards to a really wide overview of what the study permit is about. I believe you had also some questions for me that most of the students are asking you on the visa side.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Nava. I know some of you will understand because I talked to so many of you. The first thing I always tell you, how do I convince Nava that this is a good application? I know I'm not saying it's easy. I can convince Bhanu and Brett to say, hey, take this student. It's important. I know that. But the most important thing is, how do I convince Nava? And that's the most important thing. So that's why so far we have 100%. All the people that made it to Nava, they all get the visa. So we want to thank her so much for that as well. So I will Nava. So one of the questions that I usually get from students is the issue of finances, the financials. How much is definitely needed for how much do you require them to present in their financials?
So this is extremely important. Immigration is looking at your finances to make sure that it makes sense for you financially to study in Canada. Yes, tuition fees are cheaper than the United States, but it remains that you need to demonstrate that you have that financial capacity. So we calculate it that way. Let's say that your tuition fees are $10,000 per year and you are going to study for 2 years, you are already at $20,000 per year. Then you have life expenses such as transportation, rent, food, clothing, entertainment, etc. So let's say it's 500, like 1,000 per month, let's say. 1,000 per month multiplied by 24 months. If your program is 2 years, then you make an addition between your life expenses plus your tuition fees, and you have your costs in Canada. Once you have this amount, you need to multiply it by 3 on average to see how much you have to demonstrate. So usually we ask for students to show us a bank statement with a balance of at least 100,000 Canadian dollars. So I know that it may seem a lot, but if you want to boost your chances of having high acceptance rate, unfortunately, that's the reality.
Okay, perfect. For you to also understand, we are accepting students who we know, of course, will get the visa, but we also graduate, because I want to send students to Bonu and Brett. I want to make sure when they come to Canada, they also graduate. So we have to make sure that at least you meet those requirements. So Nava, another question maybe before we go to Banu and Brad is the issue of documentation. I know they won't talk to you, but some of them complain to me and say, Nava asks too many documents. So why is it important for them to provide complete documents to you?
Very simple. If you don't provide documents, you may not be approved. Immigration is looking to really screen your background. It's not just enough for me to say that you have a bachelor degree from back home, that you have a high school, that you have financial capacity, that you have this and that. I need to demonstrate everything with documentation. So if you want to actually succeed and have a study permit approved, unfortunately, it requires that many documentation. So it's not fun necessarily for us to push for documentation from you, but there is a reason behind it, and that's because we want to ensure that you will have a study permit and will successfully be able to come to Canada.
Okay, perfect. And another one is what increases the chances of approval?
I have a a little bit touch base on that, but first of all, the program of study is extremely important. The more specific the program, the better. The program of study has to make sense based on your previous work experience or study from back home, and it has to make sense based on your long-term objectives. So if you want to study IT to then become a developer, that makes total sense, specifically in a country like Canada, who is at the forefront of technology, same thing for businesses, and many other programs as well. So your program of study is extremely important. And then another criteria is finance. Demonstrate that you have sufficient funds in order to pay the cost of studies in Canada.
Okay, final question, you already mentioned about sponsorship. So who can be a sponsor? And can they have one or multiple sponsors?
Yeah, so legally, everybody can be your sponsor, but what we see in practice is that immigration wants to see a blood relation. Your uncle, your cousin, but actually someone who is related to you by blood. And we want to demonstrate that through letters of support from your family, as well as birth certificates. But it also can be, of course, parents, it can be also friends, it can be neighbors, as long as we have sufficient letters demonstrating that they know you and why would they want to financially help you. With regards to how many sponsors you can have, we highly advise to not have more than 2 sponsors.
Perfect. So we're gonna go to direct questions. Somebody's asking here, which Canadian university offers procurement on supply chain management, undergraduate or graduate? I don't know, Brett, you want to take that? Like, do you? And then maybe Bhanu can come there. Do you offer supply chain management, undergraduate, or? Yeah.
Yes, so this is actually one of our largest departments. We offer supply chain management as a 4-year undergraduate degree for high school graduates, as well as a 2-year post-baccalaureate program for students that already have a bachelor's degree. We're located right on the Atlantic Ocean. I would say a good majority of the fast-moving consumer goods coming from Africa, Eastern Latin America, or Europe often enter through the port of Halifax in Nova Scotia. A lot also goes up the St. Lawrence River to Montreal, but a lot of goods do come through Nova Scotia, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry simply because we have some of the largest shipping lanes, just 100 nautical miles off the coast. I wasn't aware there were so many different nationalities here. I thought it was just for the Gambia. But I know you had mentioned, Nava, there's students coming from the Gulf. Particularly, we recruit a lot of students from the port of Jebel Ali in the Arab Emirates. We've recruited probably nothing short of 25 nationalities from the UAE that are working in the port of Jebel Ali, as well as many other countries. But if you are interested in supply chain, we have a 4-year undergraduate degree and a 2-year postgrad degree.
Perfect. Bhanu, you also want to go? Same question.
I have a 3-year advanced diploma, a 4-year bachelor's degree, and a 1-year postgraduate program in supply chain. So depending upon what you would like to do. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And somebody, just because we are looking at the time, because I know everybody's busy, so we don't want to go up there. Somebody was asking, university. What's this question? I do my bachelor's degree in India. Do I need English proficiency? Do I require English proficiency?
For us, they do. Yeah, for us, they do. Even if they have studied throughout an English medium in anywhere in South Asia, including India, we will need proof of English.
Perfect. Brett, the same thing for you?
Yes. So, I mean, the IELTS, we require actually an IELTS of 6.5, no band less than 6, as a public university. I would also stress, kind of going back to Nava's point about the documents and applying for the study permit. It's extremely competitive now if you're coming from South Asia. The Canadian government just released statistics that there were 316,000 study permits from India released last year. That's released, not how many applied. If you're applying from India, please know that it's competitive. In particular, if you're applying through the SDS stream, you require IELTS. If you're applying from India, I would strongly recommend having an IELTS score. I would be shocked if you got the visa these days without it. So we require it, but even for institutions that don't, I would still strongly recommend it because it's only 50% getting accepted to an institution. As Nava said, the documentation is what's going to get it over the line. So do your IELTS would be what I would say.
Yeah, so this is going to be the last question.
Just to add to that, yesterday Canadian Immigration announced that it's not just IELTS under SDS. So TOEFL, PTE, IELTS, and CELPIP, all 4 would be accepted under SDS. It was announced yesterday.
Amazing. So this is going to be the last question. Yeah. So is there any possibility to have scholarship in Canada while studying? Brett, you want to go first? Any scholarship opportunities for international students?
Yeah, of course. We actually have quite a bit of scholarship, but it's always tied to academics. The better your grades, the better the scholarship opportunities. If you're a student coming in with average grades, a C average or a B average, realistically, there's not much available. But if you're someone that's coming in with, above average to good grades, we have between probably $2,000 and $10,000 a year available for you, which is probably close to 70%. But again, this is also more for our undergraduate students. We have a focus for our scholarship on students coming directly from high school. And that will be where our scholarship lies.
Bhanu?
Sorry, we don't have scholarships. Our tuition fees is very competitive, so no scholarships.
Okay, so guys, thank you very much. Nava, I'm so sorry I won't be on time. We just want to thank everybody so much. This Saturday, out of their busy schedule, they were able to make it. So guys, don't worry, we do a lot of work behind the scenes. We know all the requirements, all the schools asking for, what Nava is looking for. Just start with us, fill the application form, and then we will definitely start from there. So by the time I reach to Banu and Nava and Brett, we already get the job done. We're 100% sure about that. So if Nava, if you have any closing remarks, or any of you have a closing remark, I'll be happy to give you 1 or 2 minutes, and then before we close.
Well, thank you very much to the 2 schools that we had today. I learned a lot about your programs as well, and the ecosystem around your schools. And with regards to the people who have put time today to be here and to listen to us, thank you for being here today, to participate, to ask questions. The first thing, if you want to start and and apply as an international student in Canada, is to contact BT Global. Their job is to actually assess your background and to walk you through the admission process and to get you that admission so that we can apply for the study permit. Thank you very much to all of you. We hope that it had been helpful and useful.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. This is an ongoing thing, so we do it every quarter. We operate in all the African countries and around the world. So anytime you can reach us, my email is there, or you can go to our website for any information. We'll be happy to assist you. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Yeah.